अस्सलाम वालेकुम फ्रेंड्स, कैसे हैं आप सब लोग? आई होप आप सब लोग बिल्कुल ठीक हैं। वेलकम टू यूनियोलॉजी बाय अध्यक्षम। सो हम स्टार्ट करते हैं अपनी स्टडीज़, कंटिन्यू करते हैं। तो हम लोग पढ़ रहे हैं BIF101 इंट्रोडक्शन टू बायोइन्फॉर्मेटिक्स। इसके हमारे हो गए हैं 27 टॉपिक्स और नीड ऑफ bioinformatics-I ये हो गया टॉपिक हमारा। हम 28 से स्टार्ट करेंगे इस वीडियो में। तो हमारा टॉपिक नंबर 28 है नीड ऑफ bioinformatics-II। इसकी वीडियो सुन लेंगे पहले सबसे।
Dear students, in this module, I'm going to continue on elaborating the need for bioinformatics. अगर ये कहा जाए कि बायोलॉजी की दुनिया इतनी वसी है कि हम उसके अंदर एक ज़रे के बराबर मालूमात रखते हैं, तो ये गलत नहीं हो। इस बात की तर्जुमानी डोनाल्ड नूथ, जो कि एक बहुत बड़े कंप्यूटर साइंटिस्ट हैं और स्टैनफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी में प्रोफेसर हैं, उन्होंने इन अल्फाज में ये बयान किया है। Biology easily has 500 years of exciting problems to work on. इससे इनका मतलब ये है कि बायोलॉजी की दुनिया में हम कुछ भी नहीं जानते। हम लोगों को अगर बायोलॉजी को एक्सप्लोर करना है तो बआसानी 500 साल के लगभग वक्त चाहिए, और इस दौरान बायोलॉजी हमें इंतहाई मुनफरिद और दिलचस्प चैलेंजेस से सामना करवाती रहेगी। Dear students, if you look at this graph, then you can see why Donald Knuth is right. The data that is being output from the biological experiments is simply going towards the sky. So if there is such a lot of data that is being produced from the biological experiments, we don't know what this size will be after 10 years. All we know for sure is that we will need a lot of bioinformatics to handle this data. This graph here shows the growth of the gene bank. So gene bank is one of the premier resources for genomic information, and the base pairs of the DNA that are registered through experimental validation are listed with gene bank. So as you can see that with every passing year, the data is simply increasing at an exponential pace. If this pace was to continue, we will have a very difficult time in analyzing the data without using bioinformatics. Also, bioinformatics helps you to address a very unique problem in biology, that is the phylogenetic information or the tree of life. How did we evolve? Everybody asks this question. How did we come into the world? How did we grow? How did one organism evolve during its stay on the planet? All of these questions are very interesting. And if you look closely, most of the animals have two eyes. Most of the animals have either 2 arms and 2 legs or 4 legs. Even the birds, most of them have a pair of eyes. There is clearly some relationship between all of these species, and this relationship can be drawn by drawing up a tree of life. So bioinformatics helps you to do that as well. In this slide, as you can see, the relationship between bacteria, archaea and eukarya have been plotted, and their common ancestor is shown at the root. So all of this can be done using bioinformatics strategies. So what can bioinformatics deliver? It can help you to understand evolution, as I was just mentioning. At a bigger scale, it can help you to understand life itself. And of course, if we want to have treatments for different diseases that we encounter during this life, bioinformatics can be equally useful. If you understand the molecular foundation of disease, then later you can design drugs for it as well. Therefore, bioinformatics can be a very useful tool towards designing the drugs as well. So the contributions from bioinformatics can be to solve important problems related to life. Secondly, to handle the mammoth amount of data that is reported from the experiments. And thirdly, to develop efficient solutions towards these goals. So in conclusion, bioinformatics gives us a roadmap from the genomic information till the drug discovery and treatment of various diseases. Meanwhile, it helps us to understand life, evolution, the proteins, their mechanisms, the biomolecular evolution as well. And lastly, the cutting edge areas in bioinformatics, they include the protein structure, elicitation, the protein-protein interactions, and the field of systems biology as well.
सो फ्रेंड्स, हमारी इस टॉपिक की वीडियो हो गई है कंप्लीट। हम चलते हैं अपनी रीडिंग की तरफ। हमारी रीडिंग में हमारे पास पीपीटीज भी हैं और यहाँ पर आ गया है, इफ़ वी ऑब्जर्व द ग्रोथ ऑफ जीन बैंक then from 1982, gene bank then from 1982, it comprised of 2 billion base pairs, but by year 2002 it had risen to 56 billion base pairs. With the data in our hands, there is an urgent need to interpret this data. For instance, analysis of this data can help us in developing an understanding of the phylogenetic tree of life, which consists of bacteria, archaea and eukarya. Towards exploring the possible benefits of using bioinformatics, one needs to answer the following questions. What is it that bioinformatics can deliver? The simple answer to that, bioinformatics is provides us better understanding of life, evolution, molecular mechanism as well as disease. सही। उसके बाद moreover, we can make better drugs with the availability of an enhanced molecular understanding of disease. Possible contributions, it can help us to organize the large data sets from new experiments, instruments. Bioinformatics can help store and process this data as well. It can provide insights into the meanings of our research results and findings. Overall, it can help us to better understand paradoxes or defining the life forms. ठीक हो गया। उसके बाद हमारे पास है कंक्लूजन। From gene sequencing to protein sequencing, bioinformatics is providing us with an improved understanding of the protein interaction and signaling pathways involved in biological functioning and disease. सही हो गया। सो हम चल लेते हैं हमारी पीपीटीज की तरफ। सही है, हम पढ़ लेंगे अपनी पीपीटीज। इंट्रोडक्शन, नीड फॉर bioinformatics-II। कोट ये है, बायोलॉजी इजीली हैज़ 500 years of exciting problems to work on। किसने कोट किया? ये डोनाल्ड नोथ, प्रोफेसर ऑफ स्टैनफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी। ठीक है। इसके बाद में हमारे पास ये ग्राफ है, इसमें अपॉर्चुनिटी जो है वो बायोइन्फॉर्मेटिक्स में बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ रही है। ठीक है। फाइलोजेनेटिक ट्री ऑफ लाइफ, ये बनाने में बायोइन्फॉर्मेटिक्स ने हमारी मदद की है। ये बैक्टीरिया, आर्की बैक्टीरिया, यूकैरियोटिक की कॉम्प्लीमेंट सिस्टर है। क्या कौन सा है? ये वाला। ठीक है। उसके बाद व्हाट कैन बायोइन्फॉर्मेटिक्स डिलीवर? लाइफ, एवोल्यूशन एंड डिसीज कैन बी बेटर अंडरस्टूड Drugs can be better developed after understanding molecular basis of life. ठीक होगा. उसके बाद possible contributions solve important problems related to life, handle mammoth quantities of experimental data, develop efficient solutions toward these goals. ठीक है. Conclusion हमारे पास आया from gene sequence to protein sequences. Bioinformatics is a way forward. Protein structure, protein interactions and systems biology are other research areas in bioinformatics. ठीक है. अब ले लेते हैं अपनी पोस्ट असेसमेंट. सही है. स्टार्ट क्विज हमारे पास में है. फ्रॉम जीन सीक्वेंसिंग टू प्रोटीन सीक्वेंसिंग, बायोइन्फॉर्मेटिक्स इज प्रोवाइडिंग अस विद improved understanding of the genes, protein interactions and signaling pathways involved in biological functioning and disease. ये ट्रू है. तो नेक्स्ट हो जाएंगे हम. Molecular biologists provide us better understanding of life, evolution, molecular mechanisms as well as disease. True. The dash cell has an ultrasonic commanding center called nucleus in which DNA is packed. Small, non-microscopic, microscopic भी हो सकता है. Macroscopic. ठीक है. ये फॉल्स था, ये ट्रू नहीं था. ठीक है. उस बाकी सारे ठीक है. सो ओके. अब तो हमारा ये टॉपिक हो गया कंप्लीट. चलते हैं अब अगले टॉपिक की तरफ. हमारा इस वीडियो का सेकंड टॉपिक है. तो ये आगे एप्लीकेशन ऑफ बायोइन्फॉर्मेटिक्स.
Dear students, in this module I'm going to talk about the applications of bioinformatics. It will be a series of 2 modules and this is the first one. To introduce you to the topic, what can bioinformatics be used for specifically? How can bioinformatics benefit science? How can it advance science in a way that is unique to bioinformatics? And also, how can bioinformatics contribute to the society? So these are the questions that need to be asked if you want to understand where bioinformatics can be applied. So let's start. First of all, bioinformatics can be applied to genomics. Genomics essentially is an area within bioinformatics that talks about the gene sequencing, identification of various genes, their function, their relationship with each other, assembling the genome together, and variations in the genomes as well. Once you have this information, then you may want to store them in databases as well. So there is a lot of genomic applications towards establishing databases of genomes. Additionally, once the genome is transcribed, the transcriptional data can also be created in genomics. So genomics is the first application for bioinformatics. Next, evolutionary studies. So evolutionary studies, as they are called, or phylogenetics, help us to determine the relationship between various species in terms of evolution. You can construct trees of life by looking at the genome sequence from various species, or species that are similar but have evolved to look different as well. You can look at their evolutionary distances, that is, how different they have become over time. The third application of bioinformatics is in proteomics. In proteomics, you can study the sequences of proteins, how the protein sequence folds or bends to create a three-dimensional protein structure. Moreover, how these protein structures, they get the post-translational modifications on top towards functionalizing these proteins. Protein databases and structure databases are another very important application of proteomics in bioinformatics. You can also look at the protein-protein interactions, how the two proteins in question come together, what kind of functions do they perform after coming together, and what is the effect of that function on the overall system. Lastly, you have the field of systems biology. In systems biology, you start with the interaction of the proteins. So how the proteins interact? How do they talk to each other? How do they co-perform different functions? What is the effect of one function on the other functions and other proteins? So this regulatory framework or network of protein interactions is studied in a field called systems biology. Systems biology is a rather recent application of bioinformatics. So you can have a dynamical evaluation of such protein interaction networks towards establishing the overall property of the protein network. More so, you can predict what kind of a behavior your protein interaction graph can have, and therefore predict disease or predict drug interactions with the network. In conclusion, there are lots of applications for bioinformatics. I just briefly touched on genomics, evolutionary studies, phylogenetics, proteomics, and systems biology. But if you really go out and look for them in detail, you may find a lot of them. Some of them have been listed here for you, and these include genomics, transcriptomics, proteomics, metabolomics, structural proteomics, that is the structural biology, the drug design, systems biology, as well as personalized medicines. So this is the overall application scope of bioinformatics, and we'll look at some of the details in the next module.
सो फ्रेंड्स, हमारी ये वीडियो हो गई है कंप्लीट। आई होप आप लोगों को मेरी आवाज़ आ रही होगी। तो ये वीडियो हो गई है हमारी कंप्लीट। हम चलते हैं अपनी रीडिंग की तरफ। हमारी रीडिंग में डाउनलोड करके PPTs को, उसके बाद रीड करते। देयर इज़ अ ट्रेमेंडस एप्लीकेशन ऑफ bioinformatics in the field of homology and similarity tool, protein function analysis, personalized medicine, gene therapy, drug development, comparative studies and also climate change studies. ठीक है, तो उसके बाद है computational methodologies have turned into a noteworthy piece of structure-based medication outline. Structure-based medication outline uses the three-dimensional structure of a protein focus to plan hopeful medications that are anticipated to tie with high natural inclination and selectively to the objective. For comprehensive study, please see the link. अच्छा, मतलब इस लिंक पर आप जाएं और ज़्यादा स्टडी करनी तो कर लें। ठीक है, उसके बाद हम चलते हैं आगे। When we look at bioinformatics, it seems to be a very complex and abstract field. How and where can bioinformatics be applied? Specifically, how does it improve the fundamental understanding of biological phenomena? Most importantly, how can its benefits be delivered databases can be generated from such data. ठीक है, तो नंबर 2 पर आ गया evolutionary studies. Evolutionary relationships between different organisms can be derived from data. Evolutionary distance among species can be computed by using bioinformatics tools. Phylogenetic trees can be constructed to find relationships between species. Ancestry can be better understood between several species and organisms. ठीक है, उसके बाद हमारे पास प्रोटियोमिक्स है. प्रोटियोमिक्स में बायोइन्फॉर्मेटिक्स कैन हेल्प अस इन decoding protein sequences. It can also help us in understanding protein structure. We can also understand post-translational changes in proteins with the help of bioinformatics. We can better understand the protein-protein interaction in different biological reactions. It can also help us in generating databases of these sequences and structures. ठीक है, उसके बाद हमारे पास में आता है systems biology. ठीक है, bioinformatics can assist us in modeling regulatory mechanisms in gene and protein networks. Such models can be analyzed to identify the key regulators in these networks. Moreover, the models can help evaluate drugs to treat these key regulators. Conclusion हमारे पास आगे bioinformatics can be applied to life in many ways. It helps us to understand the sequence and function of biomolecules and their relationships. Recent trends in bioinformatics involve the development of personalized therapeutics for cancer and diabetes. ठीक है, उसके बाद हमारे पास में PPTs आ जाती हैं. ओपन कर लिया हमने PPTs. अब हम PPTs को पढ़ लेंगे. ठीक है, इंट्रोडक्शन applications of bioinformatics. Introduction. Where can bioinformatics be applied specifically? What are the avenues in biology that can benefit from this science? What benefit can it deliver to the society? ठीक है, तो जीनोमिक्स के अंदर है DNA sequences, gene finding, genome assembly, variation in genomes, transcription data, database. ठीक है, evolutionary studies में evolutionary relationships, evolutionary distances, phylogenetics, tree of life. ठीक है, उसके बाद proteomics में protein sequencing, protein structures, post translational modification, protein interaction, database development. System biology में model protein and gene interactions, dynamical analysis of such models, understand system proteins or predict system level behaviors. तो फिर कंक्लूजन में आगे जीनोमिक्स में, ट्रांसक्रिप्टोमिक्स में, प्रोटियोमिक्स में, मेटाबोलोमिक्स में, स्ट्रक्चरल प्रोटियोमिक्स में, ड्रग डिज़ाइन, सिस्टम बायोलॉजी, पर्सनलाइज्ड मेडिसिन. तो ये सब क्या है एप्लीकेशंस ऑफ बायोइन्फॉर्मेटिक्स. ठीक हो गया, ये वाला हमारा टॉपिक भी तकरीबन में डन हो गया. इसका लास्ट स्टेप है वो है टेक क्विज करना है. फ्रॉम जीन सीक्वेंसिंग टू प्रोटीन सीक्वेंसिंग, बायोइन्फॉर्मेटिक्स प्रोवाइडिंग अस with an improved understanding of the genes, proteins, protein interaction and signaling pathways involved in biological functioning and disease. तो ये हो गया ट्रू. तो कर लेते हैं आगे. ठीक है, we can better drugs. We can make better drugs with the availability of an enhanced molecular understanding of enzymes. यहाँ पर ट्रू लगा देते हैं. ठीक है, structure based medication outline uses the 3-dimensional structure of a protein focus to plan hopeful medication that are anticipated to tie with high natural nucleation and selectively to the objective. हमारा एक गलत है. ठीक है, ये हमारा गलत है. देखिए ये फॉल्स है, बाकी सारे सेट है. इसे करते क्रॉस. सही है, तो ये टॉपिक हो गया हमारा कंप्लीट. चलते हैं अपने इस वीडियो के लास्ट टॉपिक की तरफ. 30 इसकी वीडियो सुन लेते हैं.
Dear students, in this module I'm going to expand on the applications of bioinformatics for you. As you already know, Bioinformatics has been diversified into several subfields such as genomics, proteomics, transcriptomics, metabolomics, systems biology, as well as personalized medicine. In these areas, lots of data is currently being produced, and it can be a very useful avenue for application of bioinformatics tools and strategies. So as I just mentioned, the bioinformatics techniques, they have enabled us to explore this omics data and to analyze it further. In the following slides, I'm going to take a step-by-step approach and look at specific problems within each one of these areas and see how bioinformatics can be helpful in the endeavor. Starting from small to big, bioinformatics tools can be applied towards gene prediction, managing the genomic information that is churned out from genomics experiments, and then you can move towards structure prediction. Structure can be of an RNA or of a protein. Next, you can look at the interaction between the RNAs and the proteins, or even the proteins and proteins, the protein-protein interaction. So once you know which proteins are talking to each other and are interacting, you can have an interaction network. So bioinformatics techniques, they also enable you to construct these networks. So once you have built these networks by looking at the proteins that are interacting with each other, you can embed these networks into the cells, and you can perform modeling and simulation in silico studies on how the cells that contain these networks, how they behave, and you can predict their behavior as well. All of that can then be looked into from a perspective of cell signaling. So you know that biological processes are a manifestation of complex signaling that is ongoing all the time within a cell. So once you build a cell model, then you can also look at the signaling that is underpinning the cellular function, and you can simulate it as well. Once you have developed a cell level simulation, then you can expand it to the tissue level by including several cells within a single simulation, and you can look how the tissue evolves, or for that matter, in case of cancer, how a tumor can evolve. Lastly, the biological networks and these simulations, they can help you to bring up personalized therapeutics into bioinformatics. You know that these models can integrate the data from various genomic, proteomic, metabolomic, as well as the systems biology levels. So you can create models by integrating all of that information, and then you can simulate these models to predict what kind of behaviors these models can have. Lastly, once you have these simulations going, where you have lots of cells with their protein content, with their genomic content, then you can look at how a disease can be manifested, or how a disease can be produced by any abnormality within the genomic or proteomic levels within the cell. In conclusion, bioinformatics not only organizes and stores the biological omics information datasets, but also models it and simulates it towards developing novel drugs and addressing the diseases such as cancer and diabetes.
सो फ्रेंड्स, हमारी ये वीडियो हो गई है कंप्लीट इस टॉपिक की। अब चलते हैं अपनी रीडिंग की तरफ। ठीक है, हम चलते हैं हमारी रीडिंग की तरफ। पीपीटीज को डाउनलोड कर लेते हैं। सो इंट्रोडक्शन। बायोइन्फॉर्मेटिक्स इज नाउ बीइंग कॉमनली अप्लाइड इन रूटीन रिसर्च and analysis. Most significantly, its salient applications include genomics, transcriptomics, proteomics, metabolomics, structural proteomics, designing drugs, system biology, and in personalization of medicines for cure. Except these applications, bioinformatics introduced us the techniques which enabled us to generate the large data regarding biology and its use, and step by step the applications of bioinformatics increased from a genomic level to entire system level. ठीक है, उसके बाद हमारे पास में आ जाता है small to big. Bioinformatics help us to understand the system from small to big, like from gene finding to entire system prediction. In structure finding and modeling of many biological systems to understand them in better ways. Bioinformatics help the human to understand the protein-protein interaction in many biological systems and provide us the concept how these biological processes are interconnected with each other and how they affect each other. Now we can understand the modeling of molecules and genome at cell level. ठीक है, उसके बाद signaling pathways are easy just because of bioinformatics. Now morphology of tissue can be understanding by creating the models with help of bioinformatics tools. सही है। उसके बाद हमारे पास कंक्लूजन आ गया। कंक्लूजन में bioinformatics not only just collect, analyze and store the data, it processes it in very authentic way and validates our hypothesis, and very soon in future it will help us to understand that which disease is coming in future and how to tackle it with personalized medicine. सही हो गया। अब हम चलते हैं हमारी पीपीटीज की तरफ। So Applications of bioinformatics-II: introduction, genomics, transcriptomics, proteomics, metabolomics, structural proteomics, drug design, systems biology, personalized medicine. So, introduction: bioinformatics techniques have enabled us to generate omic data and its utilization, step-by-step application of bioinformatics from genome level to entire biosystems. Small to big gene finding, function prediction, structure prediction, modeling, predicting molecular protein interaction, biological network building and modeling. Small to big cell level modeling and simulation, cell signaling modeling and simulation, tissues and morphology modeling, ठीक है, बायोलॉजिकल नेटवर्क बिल्डिंग एंड मॉडलिंग. सही. उसके बाद हमारे पास में आ गया स्मॉल टू बिग मॉडल्स इंटीग्रेट बायोलॉजिकल डाटा. Simulations help validate testable hypotheses. Moreover, these simulations can also predict disease progression and outcomes. सही. उसके बाद कंक्लूजन में हमारे पास आ गया बायोइन्फॉर्मेटिक्स